All right. Hello, everyone. It's February 1st. This is episode number 23 of SEO UnMasked. I'm glad to have you with us as always. I'm Garrett Groff.
I'm Steve Doletto.
I'm Ben Brownlee.
Off to a great start. Nobody's drunk at all. Yeah, so last week was the 24 Hours of SEO, the first annual charity event. We raised money for St. Jude Children's Hospital. Things went pretty well. Only had one major technical difficulty, I think.
I don't think it was even major. I think everything went pretty well. I mean, I had lots of technical difficulties with my brain, concentrating on
I'd
24
say even like
presentations.
the last 12 hours, I was already so tired. It was like, it's a lot to sit there, and even if the stuff's super interesting to hear about, it's a lot to take in, especially for 24 hours straight.
I'm all for setting schedules next year among the 3 or 4 of us. And,
well, I mean, it's not a charity event if you kind of just have the speakers talk for a bit of time themselves. I'm going to do the whole 24 hours again next year. I think that's kind of what makes the event that we're doing it. Like if you're just there for a few hours watching a bit of the presentations. I mean, we actually had a couple of viewers with us for over 20 hours.
Really?
And I apologize, I forget the lady's name. There was one lady who was there for, I think, pretty close to the 24 hours. She ducked out for like 2 hours in the middle, and that was it.
BB?
Yes, that's it. So thank you very much, BB. That was pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually had some people join in the audience. So I think people should do their own fundraisers, like take notes, share them with their teams, and their team will throw in $10 each to get the notes and stuff like that next year. Super cool.
Ben, you're echoing.
What's that?
I can hear it echoing when he's talking.
Uh-oh.
I got my headphones in.
Mm-hmm.
Someone say something.
It wasn't too bad.
Saying something.
Yeah, there's nothing coming out of my computer. It's just headphones in.
You're still getting an echo?
No, it's okay.
All right.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah, so I think it was. I think we've got the replays to come. Should raise some more money. A couple of the speakers have offered to do some blog posts following up on their content and stuff like that. So there's going to be some really cool stuff. So get on the 24 hours of SEO.com, get registered, and you'll get lots of priority content. I mean, everyone will be able to see the replays on YouTube, obviously, but all the speaker decks, bonus blog posts, extra articles, all the cool stuff the speakers have given us to share, you'll only get if you're on the mailing list. And it's not too late to donate. We're going to be keeping it open right the way through the replays. There's, I think, 18 individual presentations that weren't just general chat. We got 18. I'll probably release them one every 3 days. So there's about 6 weeks worth of content coming out. So another month and a half to push on towards the goal. So if you can donate a little bit, even if it's just a couple of bucks, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're up to about 35% of our goal. But still plenty of time to hit that. How did we do with merch sales?
Merch was a little quiet because most people bought the mug. Apparently the mug was very popular, but not very profitable for the charity. So, but there's a lot of people hopefully drinking coffee out of the 24 Hours of SEO mugs in their office.
My new sweatshirt came yesterday.
Oh, nice. That looks a lot better than the one you had on the other day.
Yeah.
What happened to that first one? You washed it with something and it got messed up?
I guess. I don't know.
I think it was just a faulty one. I mean, I washed all of mine and they were fine, so I think he just got unlucky. I mean, they were cool about it.
Yeah, either way, they didn't ask any questions. They just replaced it. So.
I mean, it must happen now and then. I mean, they print like how many millions of tops or whatever. Some are going to come out unlucky, aren't they? It's just a shame we had a live 24-hour event.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. How did you get on in Chicago?
It was good. I was just saying to Garrett, it was pretty quiet. I went to a meetup at some Irish pub and pulled in a couple grand of business. But, you know, even if it was a light trip, it's always fun to go to Chicago.
Yeah, I do like Chicago. They're not so much this time of year.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I was in Philly about 2 weeks before, and Philly was much colder than Chicago, believe it or not. But
Yeah.
But yeah, it is called the Windy City for a reason.
I love Chicago in the summer.
Yeah, I think I've only been there
40 degrees and on the pier, drinking beer and watching the live bands. That's the way to be.
Yeah, I always I passed Navy Pier. That it looks really cool. It looks like there's a lot of stuff to do. But
yeah, in the summer that's amazing. Like they have people having boat parties in the lake and live music all night long on the pier and beer stands and like I don't know how lazy they think people are. Like if you walk down to the end of the pier and get your beer, it's like $2. If you get it near the music, it's like $9. It's like, well, I can definitely walk like 2 minutes to get a beer. But I guess not everyone does, otherwise the $9 stand wouldn't exist. But that was pretty funny. But yeah, I definitely recommend a business trip to Chicago in the summer if any of you are looking at conferences or meetups. So
it's a breath of relief for a guy from someone from New York, because the personalities in Chicago are much more charming, to say the least.
Yeah, I find that when I go down to London. London's very like no one looks at each other, and I'm not really used to that. Being in my town, like where everyone's friendly, it's like.
If you think Chicago's charming, you need to go to Minneapolis. Holy fuck, Chicago's full of a bunch of assholes.
I don't know. It just rained all the time out in Minneapolis. Everyone was indoors.
It's a little jarring at first, all the the kindness of everybody, because like you think they're screwing with you, or they're like mocking you or something.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, they probably were. I mean, you haven't even got a beard.
Just that big city New York life.
You guys, the beard shaming in this group is insufferable.
Well, I don't give a shit. I'm just too lazy.
No, I don't either. I used to be clean shaven for like years. I just, what's the point? I mean, you don't go to an office anymore, Vin. You're not a financial advisor now.
I would if I could connect my chops. My natural mutton chops, they just don't touch.
Just grow some chops like the old days.
Yeah, and then I'll have to
shape that right up the middle.
I'll pull like some Lemmy action, Motorhead.
Oh,
well, I mean that was actually a look in sort of 1890 in New York. That was pretty popular. I mean, as a New Yorker, you can probably just bring it back.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, that look is already back in Brooklyn.
No way.
Really?
It's a widespread look in Brooklyn.
There you go.
Well, is it intentional, or is that just the way it is?
If you go to Brooklyn right now, you'll be transported back to the 1890s. I'm convinced that they are actually wearing the same exact clothing that's left over from that time period. But to each his own.
I guess we better get on to the SEO news now.
I did see in the very few Facebook groups that I'm not banned on Facebook, some people were complaining about local rankings disappearing. Obviously, we've had
the opposite. I mean, the clients we've still got left are like rocketing up. So
I guess it was like it was last week, or the weekend, and it kind of rolled into the Monday and Tuesday. But it just seemed like a general, some people are up, some people are down. Nobody stayed the same. So I'm just always inclined to say some sites got kicked down because they weren't as nice, and some got kicked up because they were better.
There has been a lot of movement in local for the last 4 or 5 months, to be honest. I mean, we had a client who'd been ranking #1 for a term for almost 2 years, dropped to 27, and they're back at #2 now after and they've been locked back down there for a couple of months now. So I think Google's playing a lot with local, but I think it's a big money maker for them in the long term. So I think we can just expect a lot more testing, a lot more new features, and a lot of SERPs. One of the listings is going to go paid. We've already seen the testing SERPs for that. So you're going to have to be in the top 2 to get on the map. So it's just going to get tougher for all of you that play in local. But don't be afraid of it. I mean, no one builds good links. No one writes good content. No one, encourages their clients to describe their products properly. I mean, no one even does the basics right. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. You're just going to have to probably just be mindful of budgets a little bit more, because getting in, obviously if there's a third less places once the ads roll out, you probably need 50% more budget or whatever, because you have to beat everyone except the top 2 instead of just the top 3 to get into. So I wouldn't worry too much. It's just going to be a lot of fun, a lot of moving around.
Well, that's like SEO is always constantly getting harder.
Yeah. Well, it's inevitable. I mean, it's become. It's gone from.
I think kind of maybe a lot of people that have been in the local space, purely in the local space, might be in for a rude awakening, because it's generally a lot easier to get success in local.
It is, yeah.
So I think some people may be freaking out because that's just been the case for them, and in which case, just keep doing what you're doing, but realize it's going to get harder.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of small towns, you didn't even have to build links or just do the citations and add a couple of pages describing your client's services, and you'd rank in a small town. That's probably not going to be true. There's definitely been a move. I've read a couple of posts about a lot more of the aggregators are showing. So for some local services, and particularly in Europe. So if any of you are watching in Europe, I know it's not a good time for Europe, so I guess we don't have as many European viewers as we did on the 24 hours. But especially in Europe, where Google's under pressure to not bury their competitors, you're going to see the likes of Yell.com, Yelp, YellowPages.com, all the kind of aggregating sites are going to be showing up more, just because Google's under pressure to not put them all off page 1 while they show their equivalent guaranteed on page 1, just because of the regulatory environment. So particularly if you're in Europe, those organic positions are going to be harder to get, because Google's under pressure to put more listing sites on the page.
That's kind of interesting in itself, because it's like a catch-22. What if, for whatever reason, every small business went out and 100% of the time did better pages than Yelp or whatever? Now Google has to show Yelp or the Yellow Pages, or...
Well, it's the same argument with Google's own listings. I mean, they can be really dire sometimes, but they're always there. So
I think if you're doing a good job at attacking or being the most relevant site overall for that topic, you'll be able to win those battles.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just going to be more work.
You've got more recent experience in that than us, haven't you, Ben? Because obviously we've got a big, long-standing client that kind of dominates for their region, so we're always just growing them. That you've kind of taken some new people on from scratch. I mean, how's your experience of that been so far?
As far as how they're ranking for new
just how it's gone in a few months.
Yeah, I mean, it's still with the whole attack low competition keywords, and you shall you'll win more often than not. But I think the big thing that's here now, and it's going to be more important in the future, is all that topic modeling stuff that Nick was talking about last week, where you have to have a solid idea of the topic head term, and really have a good idea of what that is before you create your, silo structure, so to speak. And once you do that, things will be a lot easier. I think just being able
to... How much content have you needed to do? I mean, obviously in the past you would just do, 20 pages would get you a lot of stuff. I mean, what's it like now, starting with a local client?
Me and Jared are actually going to do a case study site on this, trying to just, instead of doing a widespread authority site, we're just going to do a mini niche, which would be what normally would be a single silo on an authority site. Just to answer that question. But I'm thinking that, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you could get away with a site that was 20 or 30 pages around a single head term. I think now you probably need double that, like 50 or 60 pages, and all tightly relevant to the main topic.
Cool. That'll be a good case study to see.
Yeah. We've got our niche. We just gotta find the time to get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. What's your strategy for if I have a page ranking for a bunch of keywords and let's say I find like 10 other keywords that I decide I want to rank that page for as well, and I'm going to add content to that page. How do you usually tackle something like that?
I mean, that's kind of like what I went over in my hour last week. I'll take the main keyword that I want to target for the page, find what sites are currently ranking for that. I'll run Ahrefs reports to reverse engineer all the keywords they're currently ranking for, and then I'll cherry pick, I guess, related keywords that are also low in competition, because I know that the other, the currently ranking pages are also ranking for those keywords, and I also know that they're low in competition, so they're probably pretty easy to rank for. And then I'll probably try to give each one of them their own subsection in the article. But as Nick pointed out, you want to speak to the intent of those keywords within the content, and not just kind of throw them in the content all willy-nilly just to have them in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think those two presentations are definitely ones you guys want to watch back to back. Nick does a lot of, and Jared as well. Yeah,
I think
Nick does a lot of maths, and then Vin goes through it kind of in a you don't have to understand any maths kind of way. It's just more of a methodical. Here's how I look at the pages. Here's how I put my plan together. Here's how the brief looks at the end, and you don't have to understand all the. I mean, if you do like that kind of thing and you want to use the tools like Nick's talking about, it's obviously super powerful because it saves you a lot of manual work. But if that's not your thing and you find that really difficult, if you follow through the kind of process Vin was going through, you can get basically the same result because you're looking at like Nick's method involves mathematically analyzing all those 20 pages or whatever. Vin's method involves just looking at them, understanding the topics, and using your kind of common sense and strategy to put it together into a brief. But you're going to end up with a lot of the same stuff, I think.
Yeah, my strategy is definitely not as fine-tuned as Nick's, and I'll be the first one to admit that he's got it down cold, where mine is more of like a shotgun, rough and tumble way of going about it. But it works. Every time I post up an article using that strategy, I'm instantly indexing for like 300 to 500 keywords for a single article, and I'm usually ranking the top 20 spots for my target keyword in like the first 30 to 90 days.
I mean, I'll say that's definitely something that we're still finding. We have a range of writers we use, and obviously not naming names, but we have writers that we enjoy their writing more than others. But the ones that get the kind of topical stuff, even if reading the article, you kind of are like, wow, this is kind of 8.5 out of 10, not 10 out of 10. And the other one, you're like, well, this is 9.2 or something out of 10. So they're both good, but one's clearly better. Yeah. We're finding the writer who gets the kind of including more related topics and all the kind of stuff that Vin, Nick, and Jared covered off. And they're doing that more naturally. Their article will generally just perform better. So finding a way to optimize that and systemize it's the key. I mean, if you're a coder and you love systemizing things with code, and that's going to produce you a brief Nick style, then brilliant, do it that way. If you're the kind of person who is going to be not able to do that and you don't know how to outsource it, because obviously hiring coders to do that would be, you'd need to understand it all before you brief to, your outsourced coder or whatever. You can still achieve it using Vin's methodology without any of the maths and stuff. So yeah, we're definitely seeing a difference.
I'd say that if you want to study the topic, that you really should just start to learn what topic head terms mean. Topic entities, because these are the things that machine learning is using to understand contextually what articles are about. So if you can also understand those concepts, you'll be in a good place to give Google what it wants to see and eventually outrank larger sites than yours because your content is more relevant. So yeah, topic head terms, topic entities. That's where you want to start your research.
Yeah, I mean we're playing around with the same kind of stuff, but in terms of the backlinks we're building, I've been doing a machine learning course, and I'm very early stages compared with the likes of Nick and Paul that we had on the show that gave me a headache. Although I must admit, Paul's presentation, I just wanted to kind of hang up and play around in Python afterwards. But we're looking at relevance from a site based on the body of content that's in the same silo or related articles group that your post ends up in, and also the post that you're in towards the target page that you're trying to pass that relevance onto. So yeah, maybe I'll have a presentation as mathy as one of the other guys in next year's 24 hours of SEO for you guys. But that is super interesting.
Do you know Mark Sharon? He's another UK guy too.
I don't know him personally.
He's all into the machine learning, relevant stuff, and he kind of went the opposite way of Nick. And he's kind of, I would just say that he would be a good guy to have on the show to hear his viewpoints on topical relevance and creating content around that, because he's definitely got some good ideas, and he's seen success with it too. So maybe he'll be on our guest list for the next couple of weeks.
Is he the guy from Sussex SEO?
Yeah, that's Mark. He's got some smart ideas, but I got to hit him up and see if he would be interested in coming on.
Yeah, I mean, if you'll come on in the next 6 weeks while we're still doing the 24 hours of SEO fundraiser, we can do a 24 hours of SEO special edition episode and blast it out to the list. And
cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Because I think we'll do a couple of 24 hours of SEO extra episode sessions during the, while Garrett's rolling out the replays, where we try and raise some money on this show as well and give some extra content. So if he wants to do that, that would be cool. Because it's all, we just want to we want to get closer to the target fundraising goal.
Yeah. Maybe we can have our buddy Andrew from Brand Builders on too. I think he would be a good guest.
Yeah, he would be, because of how many niche sites him and his customers have been involved in now.
Sure.
He's getting to the point where he's got more data than
many of us.
He probably knows, more than he probably knows what to do with. But he's a super smart guy. I really like Andrew.
Yeah. But let's jump into the news here, guys.
Yeah. So first up, we all know Google's been in trouble over in the EU and antitrust stuff, and basically they're saying now that they have taken steps to comply with the ruling because they're letting the competitors bid on the ad space versus them. Is that how it's working? Did I read it right?
Yeah, but they were buying. I saw a tweet about this. Google was buying 97% of the ad clicks themselves.
So they proposed a solution, and then they said, well, we're willing to pay more for it. So we're giving them a chance. We're just willing to pay more. Is what I get out of it.
Well, obviously, if you think about it, you're like, if there was let's say there was a search engine for SEO services, and it was or a marketplace for SEO services where everyone buys their market there, and say it was run by Reach Creator and Word Agents, and some new content agency came along, and Vin said, well, I'm going to bid $70,000 a contract.
Because he can, because he's a wealthy businessman and wants
well, no, because it's his platform, and when the $70,000 comes in, he gets it back. Right. He hasn't paid the $70,000 for that advertising. It's gone straight back to himself.
Right.
You can't bid on your own.
That's the caveat. Yeah, that's the caveat.
It's absolutely ludicrous. I mean, you can bid an unlimited amount. Obviously, you're willing to pay more on an ad platform where you get the advertising money. I mean, that's just absolutely insane.
See, why is this only an antitrust issue in the EU and not over here in the States?
It is in the US, but it's been heard a couple of times by the courts, and they've decided to. There's a lot of pressure in the US to not damage the enormous financial success of the tech industry in the US, and obviously a massive antitrust case that decimated Google and Facebook would be unhelpful.
Yeah.
So, whereas in the EU, there's pressure politically to build our own startups and to make places like Paris and London a startup hub. So there's a lot of political incentives to go the other way. So neither side's right. Like, I think the EU is being a bit ridiculous with some of the things they're asking for and very sensible on the others, and the US is being way too lenient. So
Right.
the middle ground between these two ridiculous approaches would be the right one, because you can't let companies like Google and Facebook, do things like bid on their own advertising and then say that it's a fair market when they can just bid on limited amounts because they get the money back anyway. It's like, but you also can't expect Google to not add features that clearly are beneficial to their searches. Like if I type in weather now, I don't want to click on weather.com and look at their 47 ads. I just want Google to tell me whether it's going to rain in the next hour.
Right.
So there's a middle ground between these two ridiculous positions, but that's basically, it's political. That's why there's more willingness to go this way in Europe than in America, just because it would be damaging to the US tech industry.
But I think that we all agree that Google is clearly overstepping its bounds, right? As far as what they're doing in an antitrust sense.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was surprised though. I mean, having said all I've said, I was surprised that it didn't go further in the US, because some of the things Google's done are clearly not. It's just not tennis to avoid saying anything legally binding. It's just not tennis. Come on, guys.
Cool.
But they've got expensive lawyers, and if they can get away with it, it's their job and it's their responsibility to their shareholders to do the absolute maximum they can do without ending up in an antitrust case. So if they aren't ending up in an antitrust case, then they're doing a good job by their shareholders. So I guess buy some Google stock or Alphabet, as it's called now. ABC.xyz.
Cool.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I think what's going to happen is more enforcement in the European Union on the back of this kind of behavior. I think what people in tech think is being clever, people who make the laws think is slapping them in the face and taking the fucking piss. So I'll be surprised if this goes. If Google's done what they've been accused of doing, which obviously is up for debate at this stage, a few rumors and a bit of debate about how they're doing it. If it's true what they've done, then it won't end well for them.
Yeah.
The next enforcement action will be worse, and they'd be better off just complying a bit more in good faith, I think, because the EU is moderately pro-business. It's not the socialist utopia that it's made out to be. It is slightly anti-business compared with the US, but it's not some crazy communist. A lot of the powers in the courts, which are obviously apolitical for the most part. So if they just played ball a little bit, I think they could get back under the radar for 20 years. I mean, Microsoft got out of all of the shit they had in the European Union just by playing ball a little bit and getting off the radar. Like, if you just stick the finger up at them, you're just keeping yourself constantly under attack.
That seems like ages ago, too, the Microsoft antitrust case. Was that early 2000s or even the late 90s?
You've forgotten about it because it's so long ago, and they've kept under the radar. And they still do the same stuff they used to do. They've smartened up. And they've kept below the radar. And Google seems to think they should just fight a little bit too hard over stuff that doesn't matter.
They keep on pushing the envelope and keep on pushing the issue, and especially as publishers, we've talked about it before with the knowledge graph. It doesn't seem right, and to me, it seems like lawmakers and regulators just don't have a tight enough grasp on
how they don't give a shit.
Yeah, how it works or what have you to be able to regulate it properly. But to anybody in the business,
well, I don't think it's that they don't give a shit. I mean, I think even in the US lawmakers, if they understood that, a good US publisher was being decimated by what Google was doing, they would care, but they just don't understand. So I don't think it's that they don't give a shit. I think Ben's point that they just don't even understand is where we're at.
Right.
It's totally beyond.
I equated to towards the end of Obama's term, he tried to implement all kinds of financial regulation overhaul on registered investment brokers based on the shady business that broker-dealers were using to gain business. And it was clear that, the regulators clearly didn't understand what a registered investment advisor did. So the proposed regulation would have just killed the entire industry, from soup to nuts. But after that came out, all that regulation was pretty much just scrapped because it just didn't work. But it was case in point where the regulators didn't know their ass from their elbow.
Yeah,
That sounds
so
standard.
pretty interesting.
So, what do we got next there, Garrett?
I forgot. Barry at the round table. Google says mobile internal link structure doesn't have to be the same. Basically, the idea is you should probably have your desktop site structure the exact same or very close to whatever you're going to have on mobile. And there may be natural reasons that arise where it wouldn't be the same, but try to keep them as close.
Well, I think that they came out and said it actually doesn't have to be the same. You just
Is that how you got it?
That both links have to be crawlable. I guess if you have a site where you have a separate mobile page for everything, it's logical that you'll have a different URL for that mobile page, whether you're using like an m.dot or a mobile specific URL. And this makes sense, that there would be two different URLs for each. But I don't know how you would equate the two. I guess you would just use the canonical to tell Google that the desktop version is the main and the mobile is secondary. I don't know how that would work.
There's someone in the comments that had pulled one of John Mueller's threads up, and it says structured data, as well as things like rel next, rel previous, reflang, shall link to the same device versions. This is equivalent to how you should handle it with visible links. If a user on a mobile page clicks a normal link, example for next page or Spanish version, then they expect to remain on mobile content. In other words, if you use m.urls or separate mobile URLs in other ways, make sure that rel next, rel previous, hreflang.
I think people shouldn't use separate mobile URLs anymore because mobile devices are not the same as when that was the thing to do. Like, you could barely read text on your phone back when that was the thing to do.
Right, I think
now, like, loads of things are identified as mobile. Like, this is probably identified as a mobile device on a lot of sites.
I would think so.
I don't want to view the mobile fucking site. I want to view the desktop site. This can view the desktop site fine. So I think you should, I think, was it Jared was talking about that on the 24 hours, how you should forget about
adaptive.
Like do full adaptive. What did he say? I forget exactly how he worded it now, but you
can have responsive, adaptive, or mobile, and he's saying that mobile and adaptive are pretty much old news at this point, and everybody should just be a
it should just look good. It should just look good on any screen, basically.
Yeah, it should respond to the screen size, and you shouldn't need a separate URL or page.
Like, you have some tough decisions to make around your UX, like image sizes. You need to have your photography done, and this comes up a lot with when we're talking to web. We do a lot less of this now, luckily, because of not doing local and SEO consulting. But all of you SEOs who do a lot of consulting get this all the time, where you have a photographer who's like, well, I'm doing this picture for this big banner at the top of your website, and obviously it's this way around at the top of your website on a widescreen screen. People are viewing it this way around on fucking mobile, and you don't want it as a thin banner. The action area needs to be this way.
Right.
So effectively you have to have a picture that looks good this wide, but where this area of it in the middle It's where all the action is, so that when it's on mobile, it looks great. And it's changed photography, it's changed, and you have decisions to make around visual hierarchy, because if you keep photos the same shape and you just shrink them down like that, a picture that's this shape on desktop takes up a whole screen and is clearly at the top of the visual hierarchy, whereas your little narrow pictures underneath are clearly underneath. If you just shrink the top picture down and you keep the ones underneath in this shape, suddenly you've got a tiny little narrow bar, which is supposed to be the top of your visual hierarchy on mobile, and then full screen portrait images, which is supposed to be your lesser images on mobile. So you have a lot of decisions to make when you're designing your responsive site, specifically around UX and visual hierarchy. But if you make those decisions correctly, there's no reason why it can't be the same site. You just have to think deeply about all of those things. Otherwise, you end up with stupid outcomes, like your feature image being a feature image on desktop and a minor image on mobile, or vice versa.
Or you could just hire a really good web dev that knows how to do this. And
web devs don't know how to do this. You're the marketer. You have to be in charge of they'll design exactly what you tell them to design.
That's true too.
I mean, not always. I mean, there are some designers that are great marketers as well. But it was like in the old days for people like, oh, well, you don't have to worry about your on-site structure and SEO. You just hire a web dev. They know all about it, right? Remember how that went? Same situation here. Come on.
Yeah. I'm spoiled because I just have Jared build all my shit for me, and since he's
Jared's an SEO, he's he says things I don't understand when he does presentations and stuff. He's not a typical web developer.
I know.
Yeah, hire Jared. Just get on the waiting list. He'll get round to you in 4 years' time. He's up.
Jared, I got plenty of shit to keep you busy.
I keep on telling him to start a service-based business, and he keeps on telling me I'm stupid and no.
Because who wants to do that shit? Let's be honest.
So he is pretty busy. So if I had as much going on as him, I'm not sure I'd be super interested in doing a couple of websites likes of us.
What do you got there, Jared?
Next on the list, Barry at the round table again, ranking in Google by aligning content around searcher intent. Just by the title, I think it's something that we've been implementing, at least in our own circles, for some time, but I think as SEO competitiveness, if that's a term, continues to get harder, this is something that's just like the latest buzz term. And
yeah, I mean, I completely agree with this. I think eventually this will be standard practice in SEO, where you're equating your keywords to the sales funnel, where you have your, awareness and informational content at the top, and then you have your exploratory content in the middle, and then you have your final hard sell bottom funnel content. And you should really be segregating your keyword, I guess, matrix to where it falls in the funnel, and create your content around where the keyword falls in the funnel as well. So, most people will land on your site on an informational awareness term, like how to train my dog. And then you could bring them through internal linking into, an exploratory middle funnel piece of content. And then from that piece of content, you can bring them down to your hard sell landing page. And that's really where you should be doing that, how you should be structuring your content. But it's just...
I was surprised to see this article in 2018. I mean, I think the search intent thing has been understood for a long time, that Google was trying to understand the pages, and it kind of shocks me that people are discussing it now, because, to just use the example from the picture on the page, they've got the set of darts. If someone types in, how to throw a dart, they don't expect to land on, if you have a page that says how to throw a dart and it takes you to your shopping results of a bunch of darts, it doesn't matter how much crap you spam on that page, it's not what the user expects.
Right.
You'd expect the search engines to return a proper guide to how to throw a dart, one with videos, photos, all the stuff that users would enjoy when they're trying to learn how to throw a dart. to win over someone who's tried to jam the keyword on and give something else, like a shopping results page. It kind of surprises me that people, and Nick talks about it in his piece as well. You know, if you look at the search results that Google's returning for a query, and everyone else is a proper guide with videos and photos, and you want to rank your shopping page there, you're not ranking a shopping page there. That's not what Google wants to rank there. And I think that it's been that way for years, and
my
it
opinion
baffles me.
is that it's been that way, but it's been very rudimentary. Where, you know, it could be much. We can almost call it like intent modeling, where, you know, you're really getting into, you know, you create a sheet where you're asking yourself what the buyer or what the visitor is really looking to get out of this article, and create the content based around the answers that you come up to those questions. Where I think people just think, you know, how to is going to be informational, and you know, what is the best product is going to be a buyer type content.
There's an SEO agency that's really into this stuff. Let me just quickly Google them. It's all they go on about. Have done for a little while.
Yeah, I don't think it's like an either or type.
Powered by search. They have their intent engine webinar, and that's basically the gist of everything they talk about in search is just this idea that your content has to match the intent. So I don't know, it just kind of surprises me that something that's been kind of a mainstream topic for professional SEOs is on the front page at Search Engine Roundtable in 2018.
I think that because of what we're talking about with topic modeling, that intent is going to become much more granular, and there's going to be a lot more steps of intent than what we're currently doing right now, which is just
I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, in the past, Google was just like, this is an informational query. Now it's going to be, what type of information are they looking for?
And I think if you look at, my memory serves me correctly, it's Carter's keyword research module in the digital strategy crash course. He goes into a lot of intent type things and breaking it down in the way I'm talking about, from informational to evaluating to ready to purchase. And
again, this is stuff that you know, real marketers have understood forever, and I don't know. I feel like in this industry, a lot of people just need to grow up a little bit.
You need to grow up a lot.
A lot,
I think
you shouldn't can't not understand marketing and not understand psychology of purchasing. I mean, the number of books I read about this stuff.
I don't mean to deviate too far, but you know, the SEO world's full of people that still think it's a
game.
Yeah, it's really not. You know, there's always going to be people in that top 1, 2, 3% of SEOs that are consistently making money and don't change. I'm not saying we don't change, but you know, we work hard and we understand the whole picture, and then there's people that just want rankings. That's it. They don't care about anything else. And
I think what it is for the longest time, large marketing outlets and they were sticking to the old school, and us SEOs were doing something new, and that's why so many of us were able to make bank between 2008 and 2013. But now it's almost like digital marketing isn't digital marketing; it's just marketing, and it's become the mashup of the old school and the new school. And you're not gonna, those big wins aren't there anymore, because those big marketing firms are in fact using the strategies that we're using, because it's just commonplace now.
Yeah, so, and if they've written their page not just to match the user intent, but they've written it with the direct marketing skills that some of the great copywriters that did the newspaper ads that used to sell in the old days used, and their page converts 4 times as much as yours. When they broaden out beyond search and they send pay-per-click traffic there, they promote it on social, everywhere they put the page, every click they get is worth 40 times what yours is worth. Your shitty page that ranks slightly better than them in the short term, it's not worth an awful lot. they're making the money.
Yeah. So maybe that could
I mean, read some books. I mean, there's so many great direct response copywriting books. There's so many great psychology books. There's so much to. I mean, and if you've got no marketing background, you've never studied marketing generally, and this kind of stuff seems new to you, then there's loads of great books about that as well. I mean, you can buy university. You don't have to, like at university, all they do is talk about the books that you bought.
Yeah,
buy some of the books and read them. I mean, all these professors at Harvard have sold. They sell their books for stupid money, but you can just buy it and read it.
Yeah, I think SEOs that are sticking to the old way of things that worked, 3, 4, 5 years ago, find themselves just like patching shit once they can't, rank for what they want to rank. Whereas if you just understood intent and a little bit of copywriting, you could, you can get a leg up and you won't have to go back and kind of tinker around to make things work after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with Vin's invite to the 24 hours of SEO. I mean, we had compliments on that from people that do PR.
What's that? What invite? I don't remember this.
Well, you wrote the invite that we all used, the three of us.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so just using the psychology and writing well is worth more than you think. Obviously, Vin can't replicate 800 of himself for his company. But hopefully enough of your ethos and stuff filters down if you understand it yourself. Whereas if you don't understand it at all, you're creating a huge hurdle where the knowledge has to come from the bottom, which is much harder to create in a company. You have to see the kind of trying to find the best way to say it, because a lot of strategy does come from the bottom. I mean, I love Mintzberg stuff. If any of you want to read some good books about strategy from the bottom up, Mintzberg writes about that a lot. But to kind of kick things off, you need to set the direction from the front, from the top. Like if Vin couldn't, write, it would be really hard for him to evaluate a team of writers.
Right. I think that's
so whilst his writers might direct strategy for the company, they might give him feedback that changes his pricing, changes his way of dealing with customers, changes the way they ask for briefs, changes the way their system works for taking orders. Loads of strategy can come from the bottom, but the big stuff and the talent, you need to have leadership from the top as well. And I think there's a lot of that lacking in some of the traditional SEO firms where it was purely technical knowledge or purely manipulating Google that was getting them the wins. But at the end of the day, the clients were coming for sales, not for winning the game. And you can add 400%, probably 4,000% to just ranking if you can play the full picture. And that's without spending on pay-per-click. That's just from making everything work better.
I'm certainly no content copywriter, and I make that clear distinction when people are looking for sales pages. When they come to word agents, I usually turn them away because we're content writers. We're not copywriters. To be a copywriter, you really need to stick to one niche first of all, because you need to know that niche intimately. And secondly, there's a whole different skill set when you're integrating persuasive writing into informational writing, informational content too. So it's just another skill set that just got thrown onto the digital marketing pile, and it's becoming more and more important with every algorithm update, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look how much, just to throw another dollar on the pot, since Vin's accused me of mentioning him every show. Look at what Russell Brunson's done with, some pretty, I don't want to say anything too mean, but some pretty questionably valued products. But the copywriting skills are clearly there because they sell extremely well.
Yeah.
Like he fills some very expensive events. And imagine how much traffic he would have to send to fill those events at those prices if the on-page copy wasn't good. It doesn't matter where he ranks. Like he might get 1 million visits a day to one of those pages, and people aren't like just sat there ready to pony up $2,500. They need to be persuaded to pony up $2,500, and obviously we're not all selling $2,500 products. But even if your product's $25, I mean, you don't think Amazon spends a shitload of money in research trying to make sure their pages convert as best they can? That's what you're up against. Your page needs to be as persuasive as your next competitor. And if you're selling something and they look at your site and then they go to Amazon and Amazon persuades them, that click was worth nothing to you. And so to go back to the dart site example, you know, you might trust the guy who's made that really amazing educational page about how to throw a dart, and he says, oh look, this is what I recommend, get this set. You might just buy it from him. But if it's just an SEO page that got you there, I don't know, what are the odds you actually buy from this random site that you've just visited? Like 0 probably?
Not very good anymore.
No, nothing. I don't think, yeah. I agree with Garrett.
I think there was a time and place a decade ago where it didn't matter because...
Well, you were just glad if it wasn't a porn site. Like, you searched for darts and you got a site that was actually about darts. You were like, yeah!
And now it's like, if I'm searching for a utility knife, I expect the best goddamn experience about that utility knife. And I will happily click back if I don't get, you know, whatever you're looking for. So...
Yeah, I think that maybe in another show we could go into, maybe we'll do like a tutorial show where we talk about intent and writing content around it.
I'd love to get a really good UX speaker. So if any of you are watching have got a recommendation, hit us up in the comments or. Definitely
not my strong suit. Content has been.
Yeah.
I'd love to get a UX speaker on just talking about this kind of stuff in a lot more detail.
Sure.
Because I think it's something people can get a lot of value from, and as a salesman, I've got kind of a good feel for it, but it's not, like Garrett said, it's definitely not our main area of expertise.
I think so many of us, you know, especially if we're doing SEO arbitrage, meaning that we're creating websites to rank for specific keywords, and then we're waiting for that traffic to roll in so we can convert on advertising revenue. I think so many of us think that, you know, we'll get to persuasive copy after we have traffic. Well, no, I think
you might as well just do it.
Yeah, you just do it from the start. Just do it from the start. And you really only need a few. You know, there's only a handful of points to keep in mind when you're writing your content. It's really.
You know, the big thing is, so let's say you start getting traffic. Let's say you don't have any traffic for 3 months, and then the 4th month you have 1,000 hits a month. The 5th month you have 1,800, and then the 6th month you hit like 2,500. But all this time, the entire 6 months, you knew you didn't have copy that didn't convert. You missed out on 10,000 hits that you probably could have sold way better if you just would have done it. And then, let's say it doesn't convert anyways. Your copy sucked. Now you know. And then you save yourself another 6 months. So then the next 6 months should have exploded because you already know what you fucked up on in the copy. And
well, I know people in the industry that send, obviously, you know, fairly big players, but they send $10,000 to $50,000 worth of pay-per-click traffic to every new page they write, even if they don't intend to use pay-per-click for that particular keyword, because it lets them identify really quickly if they've got a winning page or not.
Sure.
And we can do that too. You know, you haven't got that kind of budget, but you can send a couple $100 of cheap Facebook traffic there and just see is this a page people kind of like or not. Because it's better to find that out before you've gone to a load of like say it's just not even the right keyword. Like, you think it's the right keyword, your research shows it's the right keyword, you finally get it to rank 9 months later, and it doesn't make you any money despite getting traffic. Wouldn't it be better to just spend a few $100 on Facebook now and find out that page isn't a winner for you? Because it doesn't have to be a winner based on paid traffic. Like, it might just not be profitable to send, you know, 70 cents a click. You might not make a good return on it, but if it's at least break even, you know, so if I'm getting free traffic to this from SEO, this is going to be a winner. If you're sending traffic to it and you can't even convert anything, It's actually a really useful tool. Doing paid campaigns to test your SEO strategies before you invest the 9 months of effort to make something rank is super useful.
That was one of the
Which is
biggest
why
things.
big companies do it.
That was one of the biggest things I took away from the 4-hour work week when I read it way back in 2010 or 11 or whatever. Just setting up dummy landing pages with, throwing a couple $100 at paid traffic and seeing if there's any interest before you actually build out a website. If your landing page, if your copy, or if your
Vin, you're killing me. I'm gonna mention Russell again. He does that. He makes up.
I'm surprised I
haven't
heard about Gary Vaynerchuk yet.
I don't do him anymore. He's on his book tour. I don't want to promote him while he's selling his book. Sell-out bastard selling it. I buy it though.
I'm sorry. Now I got to talk about it. His shit. He's like trading like dinners with himself. If you buy and it's like tiered too. Like so,
he does that every book sale. Like he's a New York Times bestseller. Like I went to his conference and the ticket included 10 copies of the book. Like
it's like
bestseller.
if you buy
I paid
ticket for this guy.
The ticket price could have had 0 books. Everyone would have paid the same price. Like you've just got 10 of these books you don't even want, and you just give them away to some random people. But
then that's 9 more people that are going to have Gary Vee's book, and then one of them is going to be like, "This guy's a fucking genius," and
it's more about getting him to the
it's to get the New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, I know.
Bestseller list than anything, because then once he's there, then it's just a trickle down effect of it's just then he's in the machine, and then
but I mean he's a good marketer. But anyway, I don't want to talk about him this episode.
You want to talk about his evil counterpart?
He'll make up like 10 products, and they don't even have the landing page for them. They just run the Facebook ad to see what people will click, and then once people click it, they make the landing page.
Yeah, the 4-hour workweek strategy was to make the landing page, and then when people go to check out, say, "Oh, we're currently sold out. Please enter your name on the waiting list." And then when if they actually launch a product, they already have a pre-sale list to market to say, "Hey, we have it back in stock."
Well, I think what Russell was doing was spending so little that the list would be like 20 people. It was just like things like, "Oh, stop your dog pooping as much." How to make your wife love you more. Just random shit like that from information products, and seeing what people would click.
Yeah.
Just to get some click data, and they would just be like, "Oh, this one had 12%. Everything else was under 1."
That's actually how I got started in SEO, because I first started trying to get into PPC arbitrage, and my bottleneck was graphic design.
That's hard work. PPC arbitrage.
Yeah, I had no skill with creating good landing pages, and as a beginner, when you don't have any context, you really have no guiding post to tell you where to go from here. So I abandoned the PPC arbitrage and those strategies, and I found Wicked Fire and content writing, and that led me to SEO, which requires much less graphic design skill and much more logic, which was much better.
So you're another one of the many Wicked Fire boys.
Yep. And anyway.
I was never really into Wicked Fire. I was on the Warrior forum because I wanted to buy like really dodgy packages. But Sherlock does Google.
Well, when I came about it, it was Wicked Fire, and then the second tier was like Warrior Forum and Digital Point, and a few others.
I remember Digital Point. I haven't looked at any. Do any of these places still exist? I haven't signed into any of these places for years.
Yeah, Warrior Forum is trying to be more of a content-heavy site now. Actually,
so Gabriel Makrucht, or however you say his last name.
Yeah.
He came on for half an hour. You remember him?
I don't remember anything.
He's either the new owner, or he owns part of the Warrior Forum. He came on for 20 minutes or so. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a guest post for Gabe, and they have a learning center, which is their content hub now, but it's still the same old, half truths.
Yeah.
There used to be some really good discussion on there, but interspersed with lunatics. So that was kind of my experience. There was some really smart people on there, And that's what kills a forum, and that's why I really like builder societies. There's kind of zero tolerance on the lunatics.
Yeah, yeah.
Like people just rip on them straight away. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Pack it in. Because that's what killed Warrior Forum. There was some really smart people on there making some serious bank, but the whole forum sold out to Warrior special offers and.
Yeah. Well. I mean, it was revealed that those guys that were making bank and they had the knowledge were basically colluding to take over the Warrior Forum with their various sales and cross promoting each other's services and all this kind of stuff.
Well, I don't mean those kind of people. I mean people who are just like the people that we like on Builder Society that share good posts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like people like Carter, who's like obviously a mod there now, but you know, shares some really solid shit. Like people like that. I mean, but they were drowned out by the lunatics on there.
Yeah.
You know, like there aren't that many posts every day on Builder Society that I guess don't get deleted by the mods or whatever. But the ones that are there are usually an interesting conversation.
These days I think Builder Society is the primo web forum for what we do. And beyond that,
it's a hidden gem, really.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's beyond that. I really just kind of hang out in Facebook groups and have ongoing discussions with other guys that do what I do.
How many Facebook groups do you still belong to?
As well, aren't we, Ben?
What's that?
We're in a couple of Slacks together as well.
Slack is Online Geniuses. Online Geniuses is more for like the enterprise and corporate level marketers. But if you're doing SEO arbitrage or just digital marketing arbitrage, Builder Society, I really think is where it's at.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, Garrett, what did you say?
Oh, I was just gonna ask Ben how many Facebook groups he's still left in, but
I didn't get banned from any. I don't know what you did, man. You got kicked out from a bunch of them.
Well, I'm not afraid to.
A couple of our competitors don't like when we.
They're not even competitors. They're
they're not real competitors. A couple of people who sell links don't like when Garrett correctly points out that their links are hacked and their clients maybe. The thing is though, if you buy hacked links as an agency for your client, it's you that's going to be.
It wasn't even hacked links. It was.
Well, some of them were. One of the people.
Yeah. Some of them definitely were, and I was happy to call them out with proof. But it's like outreach. Okay, 90% of people say that they do outreach. It's not outreach. It's just sending an email saying, "How much can I pay you to get a link on your site?" Effectively, is what they're doing. It's not really outreach. It's just buying links.
It's paid links, which we do, and we call it paid links. I mean,
I'm not afraid to say that we sell paid links, but a majority of our business is what? Natural outreach, link building. That is very hard to do and very hard to scale. Yeah. That no one else does. So it
was the equivalent of what Zuckerberg was doing to Republican-leaning content during the election. He was just ghosting the posts, so people didn't have access to that knowledge. And it's the same thing Facebook owners, group owners were doing to you. They don't want their followers to know what you're saying.
I mean, honestly,
I'm sorry, Zox. We're just here making America great again. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's. I was going to say, well, yeah, it's your group. You're entitled to do what you want. I guess I can't blame you for kicking a real competitor out. But it wasn't the owners of the group kicking me out. So it's like...
Anyway,
Yeah, let's move on to what we got next.
Yeah. Big news. Ahrefs, a company that Steve and I have used as a standard, a lot of the industry has moved to as a standard over the last few years.
Well, it is the standard now.
Has decided that what made their standard unique, they just want to be more like Moz, in my opinion. Everything they've done to be unique as far as their standards, they've decided to just make more industry standard, to me.
Right. So Ahrefs has a metric called domain rating, and it's how they gauge the authority of a domain. And this is the equivalent of Moz's domain authority metric. And what they're doing right now is they're basically reevaluating how they rank their domain rating. So it looks like sites that currently have a DR of 30 to 50 will drop down to nearly 0.
Well, no, I mean, that's not. I mean, it won't be the case if you look at good sites that are 30 to 50, they'll drop to 0. What's happening is most of the sites that are 30 to 50 now are complete trash. They're all going to go to 0. Everything else is going to be moved down on the scale. So the scale is going to be, they've always scaled slightly higher than DA. So like a DA 20 plus, and Ben knows this because we used to do DA 20 plus links for him, and then we moved to Ahrefs, and then it was DR 33 plus because that was the equivalent. They've always scaled 13 or so points higher in the kind of mid range. So like a DA 30 sites like DR 45 plus and so on. They've decided they want to have a scale that's much lower because according to Tim Sulo, who I have minimal amounts of respect for because of his rapidly changing opinions depending on the schizophrenic policies that they're adapting at the time. Because it wasn't that long ago, Tim, that you were arguing with Pharmaceutical from Mars in one of your many ridiculous and embarrassing, frankly, arguments with him on our big SEO that domain rating was better and you didn't need to change it and Moz was in the wrong. And now that you guys have decided to change your ratings so they're all just lower for no apparent reason, just to be in line with what DA does, it's like, well, you know, it just sounds too high. Like, what kind of reason?
Hey, I called out Tim too on Facebook in his thread, and I got mocked by every single person in the Ahrefs Insider group.
Well,
I just asked for empirical data on why they're changing it. And I was made to be like a fucking asshole. Like, how dare I question Ahrefs?
That sounds like big SEO. I didn't even know there was a Ahrefs group. I got to get in there to get kicked out as fast.
Oh yeah, I'm going to join that just to get kicked out.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, come on, Tim. I mean, you were arguing all that time that Moz was stupid.
That's the whole point we've used you, because we honestly think the Ahrefs domain rating, however it be relatively insignificant in the world of SEO, is still better as just a general metric to use than Moz.
And like people, because they've combined the two things, people are like getting overly defensive. It's not that we disagree at all with shit sites being kicked out and being dropped to 0. I 100% love that because that's just going to make it easier for my team. Like if they occasionally make a mistake and we have to, you know, Garrett and I see the link and we have to say to our team, what the fuck is this? Get it out of the client's report, get it taken down. We're not reporting this to the client. That's just wasted time and money. So if Ahrefs tells them that before they even write to them, slightly more often, that's brilliant. What we're annoyed about is just arbitrarily changing your scale to be more like Moz for no reason. Like everyone knew where the scale was, and you're using it in a vacuum. Who cares? Oh, 40 sounds a bit high. Well, it doesn't sound a bit high because we all know what 40 means on the Ahrefs scale.
If I had to guess what this is, what the reality, because this blog post says nothing. It just there's going to be a change, and then it explains what DR actually is, but it doesn't actually say why.
Tim's preferred strategy is to say nothing, unless he's arguing with Pharmaceutical from Mars, in which case he says too much.
So my guess is that there was a whole bunch of spammy websites, of bullshit websites that were inflating domain rank across the board, and they don't want to admit that. So what they're doing is they're basically wiping out the bottom tier of domain rank completely, and as a result, all the websites are going to move down. That's what I think is happening.
There's still,
I think there's definitely a case of like it saves them embarrassment if they wipe out the old index because they can now just say, well, it's all new now and this one's better. I think if they'd like Vin just said, if they'd kept the scale the same, it leads to, well, wait a minute, you guys were shit all this time.
Yeah.
Because they were.
So what do you guys think about
moving most? We're removing, and I love it because it's going to make life so much harder for our competitors. Because it's not that a lot of sites between 30 and 50 are going to move down. Most shit sites are going to go.
They're just going to be gone. Yeah, they're just going to be gone.
So
and that's probably like 70% of the paid link market right now.
Yeah.
The paid link market is going to be tough.
Okay, and my sites will be great case studies for your for your sales team, because at least one of my sites are just comprised of just your links. So when the
So
change
let me
comes,
ask you guys this. Tim Sulo says a DR40 site should have over 500 referring domains.
oh yeah, that scale is.
And I'm like, you can fuck off, Tim, because we have at least 7 sites in our portfolio that maybe have 40 links and are way over DR40.
Okay, so he's saying a DR40 to 60 site should have an average of 4,212 referring domains.
Yeah. Do you even know what a good link is? Like, what
I
the
have
fuck?
2 websites that are about DR50 each, and both of them have an average of like 150 to 250 referring domains. So there's something completely off.
What I'm most distraught about is, does the Ahrefs development team have such a big disconnect on what actually should be? Like, not saying my opinion's absolutely right, but there seems to be a huge disconnection where some site, a DR40 site with 600 links versus a DR40 site that I have with 60 links, 10%. Why are they ranking the same? They obviously must have some sort of quality factor they're not talking about.
There is. Well, no, I mean, they're happy with their, and Tim answered a question about this, they're happy with their URL rating, which is the same as MozRank. So they believe that they're correctly evaluating the authority of individual pages. What they're not happy with is that they're giving too high domain ratings to sites that don't deserve it because of manipulation, like too many homepage links, all this kind of stuff. So I guess they believe that they're still able to determine what the good links are. So there will still be, under this new scale, sites that have a higher DR with very few links because they're all good links. And there'll be sites that have a low DR with 10,000 links because they're all shit. So that's still going to continue. I don't know. It's just making the scale lower because it sounds too high. Like,
it's just silly.
What? I mean, what?
Like, I'm really disappointed. Like, I just asked, why are you arbitrarily making arbitrary score lower arbitrarily? You know, it's like, other than you're trying to align yourself with other data that from competitors, and there's a reason I pay you for that data. I just don't know why.
Yeah, no one looks at Moz anymore. I mean, everyone, you know, when people switched to Ahrefs, everyone was like, so, all right, so what's a DR30? Oh, that's about a DA20. What's a DR40? That's about a DA25. You know, people made those mental comparisons when Ahrefs was the new boys on the market, but now everyone just knows what the DR scale meant, and now you've kind of got the whole market has no idea what your scale means now. Like, our customers have no idea what the scale means now. And more importantly to them, because most of them are agencies, their customers have no fucking idea what your scale means anymore. They've got used to what your scale meant. They knew what a DR40 was, roughly. Yeah. And now that's going to be like a DR22 or something, to be in line with Moz.
And like, the whole underlying problem is the number is arbitrary, but like what you just said, people get used to knowing what that arbitrary number means. But now it's just totally different for no reason. I just can't believe, why change it? Why not just make your ranking factor more difficult? And then, I don't know.
Well, you can keep the scale the same and make the spam changes. I mean, if a DR40 site is roughly what you wanted it, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, keep the scale the same, eliminate the spam. That's great.
I saw Tim talking about logarithms a lot. And it's like, I kept my mouth shut today. I just wanted to say, do you know what the function of logarithm of x looks like in a graph? Because I don't think you really understand.
Oh, he doesn't understand. I mean, there's no question. I mean, I'd love to see Tim try and like debate Nick Eubanks or something. That would be hilarious. I mean, that's like a
it's a logarithmic scale
heavyweights against a schoolboy. I mean, it would be an unfair battle, but it would be hilarious. But it is what it is. Ahrefs is the data standard because they're the only one who has a big index. I mean, their index is second only to Google. They're bigger than Bing.
Yeah.
They're the data source, so we just have to live with it. But it's going to be a re-education process. Like if you're an SEO agency and your clients are used to seeing 40s on your report, they're going to be seeing 20s now. And it looks like you're doing shitter work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because basically,
that was my big concern, wasn't it?
If you used to report a DA20 link 5 years ago, that was a site that was a month old, had 3 links, and 10 pages of content.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when I do the DA equivalents, I mean like for real sites, and then that's kind of the interesting point, because we're going to do an analysis of the DR, like say the DR40 sites that we built, and we're going to compare that to what the new DR is. But that's not going to be the average, because like as Tim points out, almost every DR40 site now is going to go to 0. The ones that we've built aren't. So like we're gonna come up with a DR equivalence of the DR40 links that we pitched, because we're pitching real sites that are going to have a higher number than the average. The real average equivalency is going to be like, DR40 now is equivalent on average to DR4 or something. Our number is going to be, I have no idea what it's going to be, 22, 16, whatever it's going to be, but it's going to be higher than. So I guess it should be good for us, but it's going to be a long road re-educating people that they've changed the scale.
Yeah. I think the simplest way to explain it is what I was saying before, that they just eliminated the bottom tier of their old scale, because
and slid everyone down.
Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, there were people with DRs of DR19 meant like, I don't know.
That is interesting, because honestly, I don't know how the fuck. I've never seen a site below DR25 on Ahrefs.
Yeah.
You have to. I don't know how do you even do it, because
he said it himself. You can literally just launch a new site, and then when you get all your scraper links and all the search engine links and all that shit, you're automatically at DR15 without. Without having more than a homepage.
But I mean, people knew that, which is why no one would look at anything below 30 as worth targeting.
Yeah.
Just like on Moz, like Garrett was saying, you don't look at anything below 20.
Yeah, I think
you knew what the scale meant. Now people are going to have to re-educate themselves. Like on Ahrefs, maybe it's 15 now. So below 15 is not worth anything, and 15. All you've done is move it doesn't matter what the number is, and I think it's.
What it was is they had a shit ton of sites that were incorrectly evaluated on the domain rating scale, and they don't want to tell us that because they would have pie on their face if they did. And they're just going to do this, saying that they're eliminating the bottom tier, which they are. So
real gossip is, who do you think pressured them into doing this? Do you think a couple big guys got together and said, "Hey, we got all this data"?
Yeah. I would guess that there was some rumblings underground about, something got found out through analysis and was brought to their attention, and they had to address it sooner than later.
Which is good. Biting my tongue saying good. I mean, yeah, address it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it'll be good. It'll be brilliant for us in the long run.
For a link seller,
it's just frustrating.
It'll be amazing for us in the long
run,
because it makes it harder for our competitors, which I'm always in favor of. So, I guess actually, sorry Tim, I was a bit hard on you earlier. Thank you, but give us more than 3 days fucking notice. There's. If you run the industry standard metric, when Moz have made a change like this, do you know how much notice they give? 3 months. Because you know why? When you are the industry standard metric, there's people with goddamn fucking contracts with enterprise customers that took 4 months to get signed off.
Any other data company that I buy data from, there's no way you get a week notice. No fucking way. Their contracts would be null and void. Can you imagine going to IBM and paying millions of dollars a year for their data from Watson, and all of a sudden, we're changing everything next week? Your data is going to be totally useless from the last 2. It's no, there would be huge lawsuits. There would be breach of contract. There would be so much shit. It's just unacceptable, really.
Cool.
It's like buying mailing lists for direct mailing.
But we're still because our software coding's almost finished to integrate it. We're still going to buy the Ahrefs API next month when the coders are finished.
Yeah, the problem is Ahrefs is still better. As pissed off as I am,
it is the market leader. But when you're the market leader, and people are using it, and like clients. How many agencies have told their clients they're going to get them? We're going to get you DR 35 plus links. Like, it's in so many contracts, and you've just changed the scale at 3 days' notice. You bunch of fucking children, grow up. You're the big dogs in the market now. Moz, who we all rag on, they're at least professional.
Right.
It's just unacceptable to behave like you're the scrappy upstart when you're the market leader. You guys need to, your management team needs to grow up. You need to have a more
yeah. I'm waiting for them to say, well, it's our score. We can do with it what we want. But it's like, yeah, but without people paying for that data, you don't have a score. You have a useless score.
Well, 30% of our customers who replied to the email we sent out so far have said, yeah, Ahrefs is a piece of shit too. I hate all the metrics. All you're doing is poisoning the well, because it's opening the door to everyone just saying, well, everyone hated Moz. Ahrefs has come along for their own, and that's shit too. Let's just ditch the fucking lot of them. And then we don't need to pay for their APIs. Like, who gives a fuck what they think? If we think the sites are good and we think they're relevant and we think they've got good backlinks, who gives a fuck what the DR is? I know Garrett and I don't. We literally don't give a fuck. When we get a link from somewhere, we just have a quick look at it, visual inspection, check the backlink profile. If it looks good, looks relevant, has a bit of traffic, ranks a bit on Google, high five, and it's a great link. Yeah. So it's poisoning the well, and I would love it if all these guys, if their fake bullshit metrics, killed themselves, to be honest. So if they are on the path to destroying the value of their metrics, good luck to you, because a third of our customers, we gave them the two choices. We're like, look, we'll recalculate the DR, or we can switch to Moz. A third of our customers were like, oh, just fuck it, should we just not bother with either? I was like, well, that sounds good to me, because we don't give a fuck about them internally and building our own sites. I know Vin doesn't. No. It's about getting a good link, isn't it?
That's what I said to you before, because Steve sent out an explanation to all of his clients, and I was like, listen, man, I understand. At the end of the day, I know I'm getting a good value for my dollar, so just do what you need to do.
Yeah, I had one client say, I don't even look at your stupid reports with your numbers on.
Oh, yeah. It's just...
All right.
All right, let's move on.
I need to use the restroom, so you guys want to introduce the silo article? Now, I obviously have some opinions.
Yeah, I'll let Ben start, because it's his area of expertise.
Semantic Mastery. That's a great blog, by the way, and they have great courses. Today they put out, every day they try to do like a little question and answer post. And
I've never read this blog before.
Semantic Mastery is great. They actually purchased one of their courses called IFTTT Mastery. It's all about syndicating content to all your social properties. So they actually know a lot about what's going on, and they're pretty up to date about changes in the SEO world. But today's question was, does the related post feature in WordPress make silos less effective? And, first things first, you have to know what a silo is. And the concept of the silo is a tightly clustered set of content on your website that only interlinks to each other, and it's all about the same topic. It's tightly clustered from a relevancy standpoint, where you have one main topic article and then several sub articles that support that main topic, and they all link to each other, and they all link to the main article, but they don't link to anywhere else on the website. And the purpose of this is it creates a it shows Google that your silo is highly relevant to the main topic, and as such, you can usually rank higher because of that.
Well, I think it's more than just showing Google. I mean, I think from your user's perspective, if you have a firm body of content around a topic, that's pretty compelling for the users as well. I mean, if you have, because I know some of Garrett's guides were like multi-page guides on a particular topic, like Google My Business, Google Webmaster Tools, stuff like that. Having that body of content, I think, is really important from a user perspective, which is why Google rewards it. I think when people look at it like, oh, silo some shit up, it will make you rank higher, you've got to think deeper about why does Google think that's a good idea. And it's for the same reason that people thought Garrett's guides were good, because they were getting a really immersive experience around a topic with lots of further reading. And that's obviously better for the user than the alternative, which is a fake silo where you just kind of slap up a bunch of posts on the same topic at random.
Yeah, well, the concept of siloing was created by this guy, Bruce Clay, and he wrote all about it. I just shared some of the most popular.
That is a great guide, yeah.
Popular posts about it, and it was a technical SEO thing. You know, it was all about, you know, what pages linked to which and which topic was about which. And back in the
nice
day,
box of wine.
Well, Jared said I just poured milk into a bowl of cereal, but I'm out of all my other good booze.
But yeah, back in the day, you could create a tightly interlinked silo that didn't link anywhere else on the website. You would get a significant ranking boost from this. But as Steve said, with RankBrain and with the new emphasis on UX and keyword intent, the importance of the technical silos have kind of waned a little bit. It's not moving the needle as much, but you can and should still create these silos specifically for user experience. So what I do is on my sites, I'll figure out, you know, this goes back to the topic modeling that Nick was talking about. I'll figure out what the head term is or the topic head is for the topic I want to write about. I'll create a main central page about that, and that'll be my silo head. And then I'll create supporting content that all is linked to from the head page and is linked from the supporting content back to the head page. And all that supporting silo content will be linked to in a custom sidebar on my website. And it works like gangbusters, because anybody that lands on the hub page that is interested in the topic will see all of the supporting content on the sidebar, and I actually get a lot more. I get an increased time on site per visitor because of that.
By miles. I mean, imagine the person going to that dart site, how to throw a dart, and then there's an article in the sidebar or a video in the sidebar, how to get your stance right. Right. You're 100%, if you enjoy the first article, going to click that and read it, because you're like, oh yeah, I want to find some more. It's the same things that YouTube's doing, like with the when you start watching a video on YouTube, it shows you the next relevant video. Like you're watching something about, like I was watching some weird shit about the double slit experiment in quantum mechanics, and it kind of immediately brought up a quantum eraser lecture, which was even weirder. But it was super relevant, and I ended up watching like 7 in a row of these lectures, because and you can do the same thing with siloing on your own site. So Vin's absolutely right. Don't think about it as a technical silo. Think about it as something that your users are going to enjoy and want to see the next page, want to see the rest of the silo, because it's all educational. I mean, the time on site for Garrett's multi-page guides compared with one big guide that just was complete was massively higher.
Yeah. And I kind of didn't answer the question that was posed on semantic mastery. The question was, does the related post feature make silos less effective? And the answer is yes, it doesn't make it less effective, because these related post plugins and features in WordPress, they automatically pull blog posts from elsewhere on your blog, and they display.
I would say it depends, because if it's one of the ones, because they all work differently. Some of them work by tags, some of them work by all kinds of things.
Yeah,
so if yours works by tag and everything in your silo has the same tag, like darts beginner tips was the tag. So like if your related post at the bottom of the how to throw a dart is all the related beginner tips, like how to stand, how to choose the right dart for you.
Then that's fine. That works.
Fantastic. That would actually work really well.
But if it's pulling in posts from other silos on the website,
then like if you're reading it and there's another one in there like who's your favorite pro, which is totally irrelevant from a beginner perspective.
And this goes back to the concept from when PR was around, of PR sculpting and link juice and guiding link juice where it's supposed to go. If you're linking to a page on your website that's outside of your silo, then you're technically leaking link juice and you're muddying it up.
Let's call it relevance juice.
Relevance juice would be great, yeah. So the suggestion is first what Steve pointed out: make sure that you're setting up the plugin to only show posts from within the silo that the visitor is on. Or you could just hard code that in, and at the bottom of posts have related reading or related links and links to some of the other pages in your silo there as well.
But not just for SEO reasons.
Not just for SEO reasons.
Yeah, because that's better for your users. That's what they want to see. And if you keep giving your users what they want to see, Google's behind. Like obviously they're a machine learning system. It's adjusted manually by all these PhDs, blah, blah, blah. But their end result, what they're trying to fucking do is just give the users what they want. And so if you can just be a step ahead with some of this stuff and think deeply about, is this, I mean, I know I wrote about it and I know we've shared the link to my article a few times, so I'm not going to make you guys read it again. But if you think deeply about what Google's trying to achieve, and try and align your strategies with that, you'll end up with silos that make sense. You'll end up with content that makes sense. You'll end up with a site that actually pleases the users. And then, do you know what? It also just works for Google. I mean, like all the stuff about, TF, IDF and all that kind of stuff, you can probably cheat it right now. But if your page is a piece of shit in 3 years' time, you just made a rod for your back because you have to rewrite all these pages. If you think about, okay, so these are the themes that the term frequency and verse document frequency stuff that Nick was talking about is telling me I need to talk about, and you do what Vin says, make a proper section about it, make it make sense, connect it, build it out as a proper silo, you're protecting yourself against the future when Google figures out, well, wait a minute, this page is just a piece of shit where they've TF-IDF stuffed, because there's people going to be doing it. There's people going to be doing TF-IDF stuffing just like there were people doing keyword stuffing.
And a great example would be from my presentation during the charity event last week, where I used the example German short-haired pointer training, and that was the head term. So I would create a whole hub page about German short-haired pointer training. And then I would have subsections about potty training, crate training, house training.
That's so specific.
Leash training, right? And then from each one of those sections, I could have links to other articles that delve deeper into those subsections. So that would be part of my silo. Yep. And then I could go to Google Auto Suggest, and I could go to Answer the Public, and I can see what kind of questions are being asked about German short-haired pointer training. And I could find those questions, and then I could create articles around those questions.
Yeah, what's so lovely about your strategy, it's not a fucking SEO strategy. It's a common sense approach to what are people looking to know.
Yeah, just making sure you cover the whole topic. By the time you're finished,
the reason I just say
it takes a while. Like Vin went through it really slowly over an hour or whatever. Like it's not going to take you that long. When you're doing it for 50 articles, because you're gonna, once you've done that particular dog training, when you do like I don't know, like Cocker Spaniel something training, you already got a kind of general idea what you're going to type into Google, what things you're going to look for, how you're going to structure it. You've actually got a whole brief already done that you can just go back and update for the new keyword, because you already know what the things people are looking for are. So something that takes you an hour to go through from scratch, that might be a 15-minute job the second time, 5-minute job the third time. You can send word agents 50 briefs in 5 hours if you get going. You know, it's like, don't get put off by the fact that it seems like a lot of work. It is a lot of work the first time you try and do it, because you're putting together a whole silo, a whole section about one topic. But once you've done it once, you churn the rest of them out really quickly, I think.
And if I had to do a TLDR version of silos, I would just say come up with a main topic page for the topic and make that page as broad as possible. And then from that page, you're going to link to sub-articles that go into more detail about some of the broad concepts. And you know, from those pages, you can go into more sub-articles.
Like so for darts, how to throw a dart.
Right.
Elbow and shoulder position is really important. So you'd have an elbow position article, a shoulder position article.
And you can just keep on going down and down into the rabbit hole and keep on adding more detailed articles that get linked to. It's the old pyramid structure. At the top is your main topic, and it just kind of pyramids out into more information. But the core concept is you want to keep this tightly contained. You don't want to be linking out to other silo pyramids. You don't want to be
as soon as an irrelevant video, and it's really interesting going back to this the YouTube thing. I kept watching. I'm not a physicist, and it's not going to help me in my day-to-day life. But I find it super interesting, the whole quantum mechanics stuff. And as soon as an irrelevant video come up, like some weird fucking hippies talking about how it meant there was definitely a god, it was like it kind of snapped me out of it, and I just closed the surface down and went back to work.
Yeah.
Like, so, if your silo does that to someone, you fucked up. If your related articles does that to someone, you fucked up. You want to get them in the rabbit hole where they're like, oh, wait a minute, so I've learned about my elbow position now. What's this shoulder thing? And what exercises do I do to get a better shoulder position?
Yeah.
How do I practice standing right? How do I make sure I address the board the same way every time? As long as they keep getting the next question that's in their mind, the next thing they want to know, they just keep watching over and over. And as soon as you give them a piece that jars them out of it, like, oh, this isn't what I wanted to read about.
Yeah,
you just fucked.
If another example would be, if I looked up how to unclog my toilet, the supplementary content will be what are the parts of the toilet, how do toilets get clogged.
More fiber in your diet.
Yeah. If I see an article about how to install a garbage disposal, I'm less likely to click on that.
Well, you have no interest in that. Yeah.
Right. So.
And you're absolutely right. Some of these related article things, if you're doing it in a way that doesn't make sense, and you're just letting it pick whatever it wants, it will pick anything with unclogging. And so, like you say, someone who wants to unclog their toilet doesn't give a shit about the fucking drain on the street. That's not the problem they're facing.
Right. So again, this goes back to understanding intent and understanding your audience and what they need, and it all works together. And if you have good copywriting skills, that'll help you even more. So we did a lot about content today.
Don't hire Vin because he's not a copywriter.
Yeah, I'm not a copywriter, but I do promote the Cult of Copy job board on Facebook. I think they're awesome. Just be ready to pay out the ass for their services.
Every copywriter thinks they're worth it.
Oh, you should see the games that they get up to. They try to.
Some of them are though, but it's hard to know.
They try to get profit share on each post that they write for you.
Yeah, well, that's how they make most of their money.
Yeah. But that's the basic concept. If you guys read the post I shared from Bruce Clay, you'll get a basic understanding of the technical aspect of silos. But basically what we discussed here today is how they work in today's age. And it's more about relevance and understanding visitor intent and how do you appeal to that.
Compose a haiku about walruses without referencing the Beatles. Not kidding.
What are you looking at there, bud?
The Cult of Copy. I'm trying to join it.
Yeah.
I don't know what a haiku is. Is this the 3-line one?
Just say, look,
well,
buddy,
the first question, why do you want to join us? I'm looking to hire. Second question, where did you hear about the cult? Our video cast. Third question, compose a haiku about walruses without referencing the Beatles.
Oh, here you go. Just type in, I'm hoping the person I hire will be able to do this better than me. Well, I mean, they won't let you in when you're looking to, like, who the hell hires copywriters? People that are amazing at copy, train their own.
The copywriter's sales posts on that board is a exercise in like mental masturbation. They just kind of try to show their skills through their advertisements, and it gets to be a little much. But from what I've seen on there, there's some very, very, very talented copywriters. But if you don't have $1,000 to drop, don't even go on there.
Well, I'm counting that as both the don't tweet this and the review for this week. The Cult of Copywriting group on Facebook.
It's great. Cool.
So we should do the let's do the SEO tips.
I looked up a few already.
You always cheapen, like seriously.
Because I can't find them as quickly as you find them.
Go on, I'll let you start then.
Where are we at? Twitter.com SEO.
Okay.
Yeah.
First one I found was from Amanda Taylor. Tesla develops new battery to help achieve more sustainable energy. Hashtag SEO tips. And the second one was a properly used hashtag, 5 reasons why SEO is completely overrated. And then a link to a blog post. And what blew my mind were the actual 5 tips or 5 reasons. Number one was SEO takes a boatload of time to build up. Well, no shit. Number 2 is my SEO traffic only went up when my social media traffic went up, which is completely confused and nonsense. Learning SEO takes too much time. Well, you're lazy. By focusing on SEO, you are competing with millions of other articles. Yeah, you have competition out there.
Not millions, billions.
Oh, do you know what? There's basically no competition on social media, though, right? I mean, there's only 5. There's only like 7 articles on LinkedIn, right?
Number 5, many people strive for SEO more than social media traffic. As in, social media traffic is more beneficial than organic SEO traffic. As far as I know, you can't even get 3% reach on your social media posts these days.
Well, and it's not even that, it's the conversion. Like, on social media, people are reacting to early stage funnel stuff, so you're playing a whole different game. Like, people who are typing in, cheap darts for beginners want a list of cheap darts for beginners, and they're probably going to buy a pack of cheap darts for beginners. Someone who's like sees a video on Facebook, like, learn how to throw a dart better, they're not necessarily even wanting to join a darts team or buy a set of darts yet. It's just, oh, that's quite entertaining, I'll watch that. Like, you're in a whole different part of the funnel, so yeah, it's kind of crazy. I got one here, SEO auto blog. Unique article creator, create SEO articles in just a click. Then you're fired. all of our problems are solved. It guarantees web traffic. It's selling marketing software to marketers, and it's more of a science than an art. So you guys, you fuckers, then at Word Agents, you've been doing the art of copywriting and writing all this time. It's a science, you son of a bitch. You've been ripping me up.
I saw one of those tools this week that came out, and what it did, it would scrape YouTube descriptions for your keyword, because Google right now does not index YouTube descriptions. So then it would it would throw it through like a spinner or something, and then pop out an article of just gibberish from multiple YouTube descriptions. And I saw it in like one of the Facebook groups, and like people are honestly like trying to say that this was better than a custom crafted article on a topic where research was actually done. But people will spend their money on all kinds of harebrained ideas.
Well, I mean, I think we've all known that random scraped YouTube descriptions is the future of SEO. I mean, Google, Google really wants to deliver that as a #1 result every time.
And hey, what happens when Google decides to index those descriptions and the date? The time.
Well, you're going to outrank YouTube, no problems. I mean, because you've got a DR of 97 under the old. A little known tactic to get free traffic from search engines. free traffic from search. I mean, fucking hell, I've been paying for all of that.
I never heard of organic traffic.
Are people retarded?
7 hours ago, Neil Patel. 6 white hat SEO strategies you can learn from black. You can learn from black hats. Hashtag SEO. Hashtag white hats. Hashtag black hat.
All you had to say for that one was just Neil Patel tweeted about SEO. Oh man, that guy, he's such a.
He must have reached a point with his content where he just couldn't go up anymore, because all he's doing is just rehashing the same.
Well, yeah, there's only so much shit you can talk about.
He's been crawling around on the floor like licking ants out the carpet for 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, I'm surprised he has anything to talk about in like the last 5 years.
Big piece of information for you guys. I have it on good authority from someone who has been in close proximity to him. His socks really smell. You heard it here first.
For me, back in the day, there wasn't as nearly as much of SEO information that there is now. So I had Wikidfire, I had Moz, and I had QuickSprout, which was Neil Patel's SEO blog. And he put out those advanced guides to link building. All that stuff was great, but since then he's rebranded as NeilPatel.com, and it's just kind of fell off. I
think we need to cut Ben off. He seems to have lost his mind in the last year. You were sharing some really good shit like a minute ago. Now you're like, oh yeah, I mean, QuickSprout, Wikidfire, that's how you learned SEO. What the hell's wrong with you, man? Have you had a stroke or something?
That's in 2012. That's all there was, man.
No.
9 hours ago, Search Engine Watch.
No, I mean, what was that?
Doing hashtag SEO for any client is intimately associated with getting the most out of every link. Here's how to optimize your anchor text in 2018 by Sergey Gribnik. Yes. Because optimizing anchor text is something that's going to work this year.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you need to put, like, click here at the end of it all. Like, you say, like, cheap darts, and that was the mistake people made before, is they just put cheap darts. You want to optimize your clicks, so you say, cheap darts, click here.
I'll tell you the same thing I'm trying to tell every client that I manage. Give us a month at natural anchor text. Don't even give us any. Even on paid links, don't give us your anchor text. Just let me see what the writers can do. And you're going to be thoroughly surprised what happens.
It's unreal, like the difference. Natural anchor text, just taking it chilled.
What do you mean the writer just comes up with the anchor text? I'm like, yeah, isn't that the whole point of a natural link? I don't fucking know. I'm going to look at it after the writer writes it. But it's going to be great because it was natural. It's...
Well, there is something to be said about the ratio of anchor text. But
look. Here's the thing. Like, if you could get before Penguin and even after Penguin, like Google obviously passes anchor authority through, but if you're trying to manipulate it, you will fuck yourself. So the safest and most effective way to go is just to use normal words in normal sentences and let Google figure it out.
And when you land a really fucking big placement, then use that opportunity to use your
use that one opportunity to have anchor text.
Well, how many times a year are you going to do that? 5 to 10 times, maybe.
Like when we got Earth 911 for one of our clients, we definitely, picked on their editor until we got the anchor text we wanted kind of close, because it was like, DA99, DR100. I mean, it's...
Right. But, if we want to talk anything about anchor text ratio, I think that the new conversation is niche-specific anchor text ratios, what the proper ratio is for your niche. And I think there's something to that. I think there could be a good case study there, too. But that's more for the gray hat and the black hat guys. I think if you're a white hat guy, if you're just using what the logical anchor text is for your link, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I think you are exactly right. There is certainly a limit in an envelope that all of us can push. I just don't give a fuck what the envelope is. I just don't care.
Yeah,
sure,
I mean,
maybe I'm not ideal. Maybe I'm throwing away a few $1,000s a month. But in the grand scheme of things,
well, in the long run, you're going to have less problems to deal with, because diagnosing penalties and figuring out how to get out of them is a massive pain in the ass, and it's something that Garrett and I don't have to deal with very often.
no, it's something I don't want to fucking work.
Content, pitching it to people. We're pitching newspapers stories and stuff like that when we've got an SEO client. But if you've got a local client, and it's more expensive, like real PR is more expensive than link building. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're talking like $500 a placement you end up paying by the time you've paid the PR all their time to pitch and phone, and be there when the client gets interviewed, train the client to do the interview properly so they don't get I mean, well, look, watch Mad Men. Watch Don Draper the first time he gets interviewed by the press, and it ends up being a fucking PR disaster that makes the firm look like a bunch of jokers. That's what happens if you don't pay the money. So it costs a lot more per link than link building. But when we do it for people, like, the impact is huge. Because if you get one of your major local papers in your area to cover you, you get on the local radio, all that shit.
Well, yeah, look what we're doing for our staff. I mean, we haven't hired. It's the same PR firm on the West Coast that we've been working with for years. And this year, we're having them sit down with our staff and implementing their strategies, like reiterating everything, and it's gonna be huge for link building, because
we're gonna make a big step forward. I mean, our competitors think we're ahead of them now, and we're kind of stealing their customers left, right, and center now. Wait till they see what's next. I'm super excited.
I feel bad that you made me join these Facebook groups last year, because it's like, otherwise I never would have talked to you a lot, and I'd make good friends. Honestly, like, I make great friends because of these Facebook groups. I made friends locally that I didn't even know.
You finally have some friends here.
Yeah, I know. I can finally leave the basement. But it's like, some of this shit, my God, like, really, that's what you're doing? I got out of that 7 years ago. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's madness, man. It's madness what people are still doing, and I'm really excited for this year, because everyone else is just like, how do we grow more now? Oh, we've got a model that works, let's sell some. We're leveling up constantly, and that's what you guys
I think we need to make a waiting list. That's what we need to do. No, we need a waiting list where you have to wait 6 months, and then you're only allowed to buy 5 links. Like,
I mean, we're actually not far off. I mean, we literally can't take an order for a big number right now. We're pretty much maxed out for the first time since I stopped
for
doing
the next
work.
month.
The last time we had a waiting list was when I stopped doing the work day to day, because obviously that was a big capacity drop for us. Because obviously I was doing, I was doing 15 links a day by myself. Mm-hmm. So when I stopped doing the work, that was a big. So we had a waiting list.
Hey, what you just said is a lie, because everyone in the
September 2016 or something. For the first time since then.
When we were switching over, yeah.
September, yeah, that's when I stopped, and yeah.
Anyway,
like now we're like the same situation again. Like we're if you want to order 50 links a month from us, you're gonna have to wait at least a month till we can start.
Pay $500 a link. I don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, if you pay $500 a link.
Well, that's what we do. If we have a huge client that wants over 30,000 words a month, we get them on a retainer, and then we go out and build them a custom team. They're gonna have to wait 2 weeks for us to get started, but if you're a serious business and you're seriously ready to commit to 3 to 6 months of content, then that's gonna be worth it for you. And if you're not, then I'll see you later.
Well, yeah, it's just, it doesn't make any sense to take people on for a massive one-off order, and then what are you supposed to do after the order finishes? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. But hey, guys, I was the only one that mentioned the word of the day today, so.
What was it?
Hatching shit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have one more hashtag SEO thing.
Oh, yeah?
Go on.
Search Engine Journal. Some common black hat SEO practices. And they've made a graphic about it.
I bet these aren't even black hat.
Cloak content. Automated link spamming. Keyword stuffing. Use of PBNs, aka private blog networks.
Well, that's not black
Forum
hat.
and social
That's white hat.
bookmarking. Profile link spamming. And more.
And more. Well, I can't wait to hear what more things they have on their main article.
As if that publication couldn't get more depressing on the state of the industry news. Here we are.
I mean, Vin, you must feel the same, like, coming from a finance background and the industry press that we had. How embarrassing is the SEO industry press when you read it for the first time, coming from a finance background? I was like, I'm used to reading, like, fund strategy or something, where these, like, elite fund managers are talking about their strategies for investing, like, in India or something. And then you sign on and you get that. Common black hat strategies in 2018. It's like, what the fuck is this shit?
It kind of exists in a bubble though, because when you're looking to make money from home, you're obviously going to land on SEO and digital marketing stuff, and all those.
This is a cheap gateway
that sell courses and all the stuff gets you really excited about all the stuff, and that's what the Warrior Forum existed on for years.
Why is our industry press so bad? I understand why this shit forums.
Once you become a professional, the quality level drops because there's only a handful of people that are
it's like even the engineering field. I don't call myself an engineer just because even though I have my degree in it, it's the same shit. You start like as you're younger, you're reading all these publications, but by the time you like actually graduate college, you're kind of like, okay, there's like a few that you actually give a shit about, like all the industry standard people, like whatever, are just bullshit, and then there's like, okay, there's a few I should pay attention to, but it's the same thing in every industry, and it's really sad that
I don't know. In finance, the magazines are really good. I mean, Fund Strategy is fantastic.
Well, what about the Wall Street Journal? I finally fucking canceled that.
Well, that's a consumer paper.
Now they're fucking emailing me every day. Are you sure you don't want to come back for $38.99 a month? No.
I was just a back office guy, so I didn't really have too much client interaction. I wasn't creating strategies. So I read a lot of Market Watch. I read the papers that came through, the trade journals that came through the office. But yeah, you can tell when people care about their profession and when people are just writing shit to kind of sell you on something that's not going to exist, in 3 months.
Oh, I mean, no one wants to write for. I think that's the thing. No one really wants to write for search engine land, search engine journal, stuff like that. So sorry, guys. I'm not going to write for you. You're an embarrassment.
No.
You're shitting on everybody today, man.
Fuck it. I've had enough.
Well, my nickname's Sassy Steve, so I'm allowed to.
All right. Let's share the fundraising link one more time.
Oh yeah, guys. I mean, look, we need some more. We're going to be releasing all of the replays, some insanely sick presentations, including Mr. Vin here, who's going to tell you how to make a proper content plan without knowing any maths, which I think is a big win. I mean, all that TF IDF stuff's amazing, but you have to do some maths. Like Vin's going to give you the walkthrough of how you just do it logically, and you're going to end up like 87% the way there, which is good enough for most of your. Here's
the thing: we only raised $5,500 or so. And from a community standpoint, that's pretty sad. There were a lot of people that gave money. Doesn't matter the amount. I know there are at least 800 people that watched that entire event. It didn't give a shit. It's really disappointing.
800 viewers who didn't give $1. I mean, come on. Even if all those people had given $1,
the stuff that happened during those 24 hours. I mean, yeah, we probably had 6 hours of downtime. Whatever. If you signed up, you're still going to get all the recordings for free, and you haven't donated. You're going to learn some shit that no one's ever talked about at a conference, because these are people that generally don't speak at a conference. There are a couple.
Eubanks hardly speaks in public.
There's a couple that only
everything
speak
he
at
shares-
conferences that
everything
you're
he
not
shares
allowed
is
to
in
go
the
to.
private
It's
group.
invite only. So it's like the only reason they're speaking is because is for charity. And if you can't even stick $5 in, you might want to reevaluate what you're doing in life.
And if you've been around the block in SEO for a while, you know that strategies change all the time because Google's always updating. So I think what we shared was a pretty broad spectrum of what's working today. So, it's some great value there. So if you could throw $5 over to some kids that need it.
Forget about the suggested donations. Like, if you really don't feel like you can donate $100,
Just
give
throw
a
in
buck,
$20,
$5.
whatever.
Just throw something in the pot, man.
Make it anonymous. If
you're not going to sign up to Nick Eubanks' Traffic Think Tank for $97 a month, or whatever it is.
No.
But he's just
if you're
giving away
embarrassed, if you're not donating because you're embarrassed, you can only put $5 in. Just make it totally anonymous.
Yeah.
Because we can't even see. If you make it anonymous, I can't even see your name.
Yeah,
so
no
it's
one
like
can
whatever.
see. Like, it's all Just Giving handle. They give the money straight to the charity. It's St. Jude's, children's cancer.
Yeah.
It's people in this industry coming together to raise some money, giving you knowledge, improving the industry. There's such a big knowledge gap in this industry.
So here's what I'm going to do. For everyone that donates, I'll match dollar for dollar for the next month. So let's see some
You
donations.
better be careful with that promise.
Yeah, I'd be careful. Because,
I know you guys aren't going to.
I'm not getting involved in that shit, man. If someone gives like $100,000, I haven't got that kind of money.
Well, I guess I have to take a second mortgage, but dollar for dollar within reason, okay? If you let's keep it at like $500 a person, legitimate $500. So.
Cool. That's a good deal there, bud.
That's very, very generous of you, Garrett. Thank you.
So
Right,
I need the write-off, so let's fucking see it happen.
I think that wraps us up, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It does.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sign us up there, man.
All
It
right.
was a good show this week, actually. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. We covered some pretty interesting topics.
Get your corn silos and fucking focus. Wouldn't make sense if you're not from the Midwest, but.
And if you agree with us on the new Ahrefs domain rating crap,
shit on them.
Hit up Tim on Twitter and let him know your thoughts.
Yeah. Our big SEO, the Facebook group. If you're an Ahrefs user, go on Facebook. It's Ahrefs Insider is the name of the group. You just join and they ask you what email address that you use in your account, and you're in. So pretty easy. Tim, he fields questions pretty regularly with his team. The only problem is it's the marketing team taking responses. You're never going to talk to somebody technical. They're the middlemen. But it's good that they do that. Obviously, things get fixed. But
anyway,
just tell them they suck.
Obviously, we're pissed, but whatever. Life.
Look. In the long run, we're going to thank them and we're going to love them for this change. It's just like, give us more than 3 fucking days notice, you bunch of fuckers.
It's just a clusterfuck because the whole idea is we pay for a service, and what service can I go out on and expect a little more like change of terms? If I was gonna see different terms on my loan for the house, that'd probably be like a 6-month notice, or something. Or if I was in contract with their business for services, it would be at least 3 months, out of due respect,
Well, like I was saying, man, I am guessing that there was something that was about to be revealed about how they evaluate domains.
It's like the only thing that makes sense.
They had to make this change right away.
Yeah, I think they were under pressure and stuff, but make the change. The change is good. The change is good, but just give us enough time.
What would you guys say if they just made the change and didn't tell anybody? I'd be more in favor of that.
Well, I know that would have been a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
That would have been an absolute fucking nightmare.
Yes, it certainly would have been.
Don't even joke. At least they have some marketing retards to post some blog posts and stuff. I mean, not saying you're an
I'm
idiot.
trying to get the founder to talk to me on Twitter because I just had some questions about stuff.
Oh, they're all too rich now. They're all fucking billionaires at Ahrefs now. Oh, and Moz has just made a profit of $50,000 for the first.
They paid their most recent hire salary. Yes, we're gonna make it. Anyways,
I'm sorry, Moz, you're dead.
we paid one person's salary.
HubSpot, literally, the only way Moz survives is if HubSpot buys them. And don't even get me started on HubSpot.
I saw some news about HubSpot today.
To all of you HubSpot customers out there, if you work with a company where 74% of their money is spent on selling to new customers, which is the case with HubSpot, I think it's over 70. I think it might even be over 80, but it's definitely over 70 on their latest books. So you're paying them $10,000 a month so that they can spend $7,000 getting another sucker like you. You're wasting your money. You're getting $3,000 worth of service. And obviously you always know that when you hire a company, like obviously we spend money on marketing our business, whatever, like everyone has a markup, but 70%? Are you fucking kidding? You're getting nothing for your money. 70% of it's going down the toilet because it's just such an outrageously shit product for what it's worth, what it costs. They need a sales team, like they virtually fucking tie you down and make you sign. And I know people who've been courted by them. But yeah, if those bastards buy them, Moz might survive. And they can just be a big bastard company with shit products together.
Anyways, don't forget to check out the video description. We'll have links to the charity event. Coming up quickly, we're going to start releasing the 24 hours of SEO segments. If you haven't watched before, every hour has been broken down. We had some presenters not make it, so we're not going to have 24 presenters. It's probably close to like 19 or 20. I think we're going to release them slowly. I'm finally up to encoding about 9, so I think maybe tomorrow I'll upload 3, and then Saturday 3, and we'll roll it out slowly so you have time to digest everything.
Every 3-4 days we'll get some more up. It'd be really good.
I'm a bit of a newbie to Adobe Premiere. I've used it, but now all of a sudden things get a little complicated editing 200 gigabit files and things don't want to work. So I'm learning as I go, as we did through the whole presentation. But I think it was a good year.
It's the first year, and it's going to be, next year is going to be even more amazing because we've actually got speakers asking to be, like, we had to pitch to get all the speakers on this year. You know, Garrett decided he was going to do this on like December 20th. And we had to run it straight after Christmas, basically. And, you know, we've already got speakers queuing up.
Next year is going to be only better, and I can't imagine, just based off of what I heard this year, it's shit people don't talk about. Can you imagine next year when they're going to be changing this year between what the three of us have talked about? You know, things are changing very quickly, and all you have to do is donate $20.
Presentation next year, I mean, you see what he comes up with that.
I guarantee he'll have something even better. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
And you only have to donate $25 suggested, but you're paying the gurus $2,000, so whatever. Anyways,
I mean, if you want to donate $2,000, that would be amazing because with Garrett's donation match,
I'm capping at 500 per person, so hopefully no one makes a bunch of fake names. But
yeah, there's going to be a 75,000 anonymous donation from like. Matt Cutts is going to be like, I'm going to bankrupt that guy.
Well, Matt.
It's like, you remember when you guys sent me flowers?
I'm going to have to liquidate my IRA and then pay the penalty on it. And then I think I can make it.
All right, that's it.
Yeah. Anyway, see you next week, next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Sorry.
Midnight in the UK.
Yep.
You can find me on Twitter, Vin Brownlee. I'll be fielding questions on that.
Don't try to
Good
find me.
night, guys.
I'm tired of people finding me on LinkedIn. I'll see you later.
I'm at SD Diletto.